how can we deal with feelings of imposter syndrome?
I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, which I also discuss in my book, by the way, there's kind of two scenarios, right, where that can happen. So what the name, of course, actually means is where somebody feels unqualified for a position in which they are actually fully qualified, right? However, the imposter syndrome, I think, has kind of become generalized in colloquial speak to the point where people who actually have a legitimate awareness that there's some growing and learning and polishing that they need to do are labeling that feeling as imposter syndrome. And they're actually not doing themselves a favor by labeling that as imposter syndrome. They would actually sometimes be doing themselves more of a favor if they would say, I'm having a healthy awareness of some areas where I need to grow and develop. It's totally normal. In fact, it's a healthy thing as we climb a career ladder that there are new areas and skills that we need to develop as we climb. And so to take that, shot of adrenaline or restless feeling, and instead of just stewing on it, to say, okay, well, what are some books I can read when I get that feeling? Or, what are some skills-based videos I can watch on YouTube? Or what's even a list of questions I can write down that I'm having this feeling because I don't feel qualified to what? Be specific. And then, go talk to someone and say, how can I improve my skills at X, Y, and Z? On the other hand, if you're truly, like a genuine case of imposter syndrome, like if I, as a clinical psychologist, have been practicing for 12 years and it's not what I'm about to say is not true, but if I were to say, I just find myself sitting with clients thinking, what am I doing here? How am I supposed to help them, right? If that would be the case, then I would shift to something called thought replacement, which is where you would have a deliberate script that you would say to yourself, like, I have a PhD in clinical psychology. I've written a book about this topic. I've helped hundreds of people, and I have, such and such degrees. Or, if you're working at a company, you could say, the HR team here is very qualified and they vetted me thoroughly. I'm extremely qualified for this position, and I have the performance reviews to prove it as well. And you would want to write these statements down for yourself because they sound, so obvious in our moments of calm. But when we're in a bit of a mental frenzy, we can not be able to think clearly, and we might need to actually read them and mentally rehearse them. The benefit of that is, not only does it get you on the right track, thinking about the truth, but it also interrupts a negative internal monologue of, I'm not qualified. I don't know what I'm doing. Why did they put me here? All that stuff is only pushing you into further derailment. So if that's truly happening, then you would want to have, preset thought replacements that you could go into and have them scripted and put time and effort into memorizing them and also keep them written down.
Yeah, that's really good advice.